afternoon. My name is Angelina Lee.
I'm Juliana Lynn. I'm Francesca Khan.
I'm Brooke Walker.
And I'm Jayla Phillips. Charlotte Bacon, Daniel Barden, Anne-Marie Murphy, and Victoria Soto were just 4 out of 26 people who were innocently killed at St. Nick Elementary School. There have been over 200 school shootings since. School shootings have been happening since the 1800s and have only gotten worse. No amount of drills can prepare the students and teachers for what they endured during these school shootings. Our group had a goal to understand and figure out how school shootings have affected Americans in the last 30 years. We did this to the perspectives of students, teachers, the media, the community, and the government. By this, we came to the conclusion that school shootings have affected Americans in ways no one can imagine, some ways worse than others. Teachers and students will never be the same mentally or physically after a school shooting. These school shootings shook the world.
The Columbine shooting spent 10 days on the front page of the New York Times. The Virginia Tech shooting 8. Mass coverage on shootings such as these has led to an even higher number of shootings in subsequent years. The first big wave of shootings was in 1993, followed by 1999 when Columbine occurred. After these spikes, yearly averages largely surpassed any previous years. Since Sandy Hook, which occurred in 2012, there have been 189 shootings that have resulted in fatalities with 279 casualties, a number that continues to rise to this day. Schools across the country have made an effort to lower these fatalities by implementing active shooting drills a minimum of twice a year. These drills do not stop shootings from occurring, but they do minimize the violence and keep students as safe as possible if an event were to occur.
The witnessing of a school shooting leaves detrimental consequences to the mental health of both teachers and students who are at the scene. According to Alexander Bree, clinical assistant professor of social work at the University of South Carolina, trauma symptoms such as post-traumatic stress disorder, major depression, anxiety, and mood disorders are just a few of the symptoms that teachers and students face after an event like this. Trauma symptoms this significant can be seen in their academic or even personal life. Some examples of this may be how students' performance in school decreases, they may turn to alcohol or drug abuse, and they may start to experience nightmares or flashbacks from the incident. According to this graph by the Environmental Research and Public Health Journal, 200 out of the 500 teachers surveyed, random public school teachers surveyed, answered that they were unsure whether their schools used effective methods to reduce trauma symptoms in staff members and students following a school shooting. This is a problem because if they are seeking treatment for their symptoms, they may not know about any counseling or therapy, if any, that their schools offer. When teachers and students don't know where to access mental health services, it can worsen their symptoms to the point attending school at all may be too difficult. Like Brooke previously mentioned, there has been mass coverage of school shootings on the internet, which have led teachers and students to feel unsafe within their own classrooms. Sarah Lerner, a surviving teacher at the Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, expressed, "We get into education because we love children. We love our subject matter and we love teaching. None of us got into education to be human bodyguards and to be human shields."
Teachers are having to be lines to protect themselves and students with whatever chairs, desks, or shelves they can find. This has left the students and teachers to be fearful in their classrooms. The students are so scared that they may start bringing their own weapons in case an incident were to occur. This leaves the classroom feeling more unsafe with the presence of a weapon in the learning environment.
The impacts of school shootings have led to communal changes within many American public schools. In a letter addressed to the community surrounding Oxford High School, Tim Throne, the superintendent, proclaimed that there were calming new paint colors and wall graphics, new tiles around the classroom entries, drywall ceilings, and new carpet. The renovations can be seen in these images. This change was due to the Oxford High School shooting in which there were 8 injured and 4 dead. Physical change in regards to schools can also be seen after the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary. After many community discussions, it was concluded that the school will be built in the same place, but it will look different from before to symbolize that this event will not define the Newtown community. This was the architecture of Sandy Hook before the shooting, and this is what the school looked like after it was destroyed and rebuilt. Many schools have chosen the same renewal process because it helps with decreasing trauma for the victims that return, a major problem that was addressed previously by Francesca. The impacts of school shootings can also be seen in enrollment rates. In this graph presented in the Journal of Education Evaluation and Policy Analysis, it shows the enrollment rates of ninth graders prior to and after a school shooting. This graph compares the shooting schools to a comparison group, which consists of other schools in the same district. There was a 5.8 decrease in freshman enrollment rates following the shooting. And though there was still a decrease, the enrollment rates relatively stayed the same in the comparison group. This shows how these rates have been mainly due to how families transfer to schools outside of the shooting district in response to the school shooting. This was concluded by Len Kate Yang, having a PhD in public affairs.
Many people do not agree with gun laws that others want to add to protect students and teachers at schools. For example, most Democrats lean towards more stricter gun laws, and most Republicans lean towards more lenient gun laws. According to the graph, more than 60% of Democrats lean towards highly stricter gun laws, and only less than 20% Republicans lean towards highly stricter gun laws. The government will not agree on gun laws because the two biggest parties in the government won't agree on what to do about gun laws, and whether they want to make them stricter, kept the same, or become less strict. The government should agree on what to do, or nothing will happen with the safety of students in schools. A solution that can help school shootings become less frequent is gun law reform. Having stricter gun laws will make it harder for some people to get guns. Some gun laws could be make more background checks, increasing the age to obtain a gun, and limiting the usage of some guns. Another solution would be security upgrades at schools. Security upgrades at schools could help because it would make it harder for some people to get inside the schools easily. A security upgrade that will help is make windows smaller, bulletproof doors and windows, and increase security guards at schools. Another solution would be mental health check-ins at schools. Because if you check in on how someone is doing, then they might be a better person than what would have happened if no one took the time to check in on them. Checking in on students can help them feel secure and know that someone is there when they need it.
Although these solutions would help minimize the disastrous effects of school shootings, it can be complicated to implement these into our current system. Due to our bipartisan government, it can be hard to get voters to agree on a new law. Some voters won't vote for a law simply because of who's introducing it. The Department of Education also cannot afford upgrades such as bulletproof windows and doors, and it can be hard to get teens and tweens to open up before it is too late. Most schools have hundreds of students and very few counselors. And I'll leave you with one final thought, a quote by Jordan Gomez, a survivor of Sandy Hook who was only 9 years old at the time. "Nothing can fix what that day broke inside me and in every child in that school. That day. My biggest fear walking into school is not the homework or the test, it is instead that I will not live to leave at the end of the day, or that if I do, my friends will not. I cannot bear the thought of burying my friends." This is our works cited page. Thank you.
We'll start down here with Francesca first. Tough topic, you guys, so good for you. Reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem?
I would say Brooke had the greatest overall impact on my understanding because she talks about, in her first graph, she talks a lot about how school shootings have increased tremendously because of the media, and she helped me realize that because of the media's influence, teachers and students are having to relive their trauma by all of the mass coverage of the school shootings on various websites and social media.
All right, thank you. All right, Jayla, how did the group decide to include, Juliana's perspective in this overall presentation?
So Juliana's perspective was the community. So in claim 3, she talked about how the community helped rebuild the schools, and the community basically just help everyone kind of get back to normal and rebuild what was lost during the school shootings.
Thank you. Next up, what is an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' reports that you decided to exclude from your team presentation, and why?
We decided to exclude Juliana's argument on how the community can affect school shooters. We decided to exclude that because we didn't want to add the characteristics of school shootings.
Okay, next up. What is a way in which your team's solution makes you think differently about the work you did?
Initially, a lot of my work had to do with the media as well as the mental health and the reasonings for why school shooters do what they do. And I had never really thought about the fact that I was mostly concerned about mental health, but I never really thought about the fact that gun reform and easy access to guns could have affected why they did what they did.
All right. Last one. Describe an argument from one of your peers' reports that makes you think differently about the solution, the overall solution.
An argument that Brooke presented in her IR was about limiting media coverage on the shooters, which made me think differently about my individual report because I focused more on the physical solutions, so like implementing laws on gun control, which is more physical and not mental. So like creating mental health supports in schools.